Have you ever been so hot on a summer day that you just couldn't stand it? I mean, really hot. Even in the shade, you're just getting dominated by the heat. You didn't even want to move, you didn't want to walk, and you definitely don't want to run. I'm talking about that I'm sweating just sitting here kind of hot. Or have you ever been so cold in the winter that no matter what you did, you just couldn't warm up? You were just getting chills like crazy, teeth chattering, wanting to curl up in the fetal position. I'm talking about that please someone throw a fire on me kind of cold. Both are miserable. But if you had to choose, which one would it rather be? Hot or cold? Trick question, right? The real answer is neither. We like to be comfortable, don't we? Think about it. During the summer, everyone complains that it's too hot outside. And then when it cools off, everybody's like, it's freezing out here. Seriously, if it's not precisely 70 degrees at all times, we complain. Or maybe that's just me. That's why we should all have a picture of Willis Haviland Carrier hanging above the mantle in our house. That's right. Get that old family portrait out of there and hang up this guy. Why? Because in 1902, Willis Carrier invented a contraption that eventually became the modern air conditioning system. Now, I don't know if old Willis made any money off of this invention, but he should have made a bunch of it. He should have been a bajillionaire. Why? Because we all want to be comfortable, and he basically invented comfort. So what does being comfortable have to do with anything? Well, last week we started talking about something that might make us a little uncomfortable. Risk. Risking something in order to get a reward. And we said we have a fear when it comes to risk, because we're afraid that we'll take a risk and it won't pay off. And it's this fear that keeps us from reaching out and serving others. We withhold doing good even though it's within our power to do it. We hold back. Because what if we put our time, our energy, money, even comfort all in and we don't get anything back? What if there's no payoff? What if it doesn't really help? What if it does and they don't say thank you? What if it does and no one ever knows the good thing that we did? Last week we specifically talked about giving something to someone, anything. Not going all in, but giving something. This week we're going to talk about another kind of risk. Not just giving something, but doing something. I think we're all okay with the idea of doing something, but when it really comes down to it, we hesitate. Giving up our time, our resources, and our comfort is not appealing to us. Now, I'm not talking about that just helping out, like helping do the dishes at your house, or giving a friend a ride home from school because they missed the bus, or picking up the books for a guy who dropped everything in the hallway at school. Those are great things, but I'm talking about more than just helping out. I'm talking about serving someone, not just doing a favor, but getting involved. Rolling up your sleeves, moving toward their mess, and really serving them. It's not always nice, it's not always neat, and there's not always a coffee shop with Wi-Fi and a mocha frappuccino right around the corner from where you're serving them. Let's face it, really serving someone can be really uncomfortable, more so than just giving some time and money. And I think one of the reasons is because it's unfamiliar. Serving someone else requires us to get out of our own routine and agenda. Sometimes it involves getting out of our own little area of town and doing something that we're not used to doing, or maybe have never even done before. We're not familiar with the surroundings, or maybe even the people we might come in contact with, and all those people we usually try to ignore and pretend they don't exist. Getting involved means moving right in the middle of them. It means rubbing elbows and shaking hands, smiling, laughing, telling jokes with people that we might otherwise be tempted to cross the street and avoid. All this is uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar. Serving takes a lot of courage. Another reason that serving can be uncomfortable is that it's inconvenient. It takes time we'd rather spend doing something else. We don't want to serve someone else on our Saturday because then we can't go out to the mall or to the movies with our friends. We don't want to serve someone else on a Saturday because we can't sleep in. We don't want to serve someone after school because then we can't go hang out at Starbucks. And some of us are just busy. We have jobs, internships, sports, clubs, practice, rehearsal, chores, and schoolwork. Our time is already limited, and thinking about stretching it even more just leaves us anxious. So what's the point? Why serve? What makes serving other people important enough to overcome our convenience and motivate us to venture into the unfamiliar? What could possibly make it worth risking our own comfort? Well, the Bible has a lot to say about serving other people and sacrificing our own comfort in order to ease someone else's. But today, we're just going to check out one parable that Jesus told his followers. The story is found in Matthew 25. In this chapter, Jesus was telling his disciples some stories to illustrate what it might look like at the end of time. The purpose of these stories is not to scare anybody, but point out the things that really matter. Let's read the whole passage together, then we'll come back around and talk about it. When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate the people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go visit you?" The king will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Reading this, I think that what these people did wasn't that big a deal. It wasn't a worldwide movement that required a Kickstarter campaign to get off the ground. They just saw a need, and they did something. But Jesus seemed to think the exact opposite. Though these acts seemed insignificant, they were actually a big deal to a person being helped, which makes them a big deal to Jesus. He noticed every time. He celebrated every act of kindness, every gesture, every service, every movement toward the mess. This puts a whole new spin on serving others. For me to know that Jesus noticed and that it was important to him. Helping someone else obviously helps that person, but have you ever considered how much it means to God when we serve other people? He's paying attention. Jesus even goes as far as to say that when we help and do something for someone else, it's actually doing it for him. That changes everything. You see, the reason that serving others, really serving them, might be worth the risk, the inconvenience, and the energy we spend is that serving really connects with the heart of God. He's passionate about it, which means we should be passionate about it. He's calling us to risk our comfort to help others, not because he wants us to be uncomfortable, but because he wants us to be more like him, to understand him more. In fact, serving just might be the thing to please him more than anything else we could do. Knowing that doesn't make serving more convenient, but it does make it more purposeful. Think of it this way: courageous is greater than comfortable. Today, I want you to do something, anything, for someone else. Even though it's going to be inconvenient, even though it's going to make you uncomfortable, do something. And if you don't know what to do, look back at the story that Jesus told. What were some of the needs that he talked about? Who were the people that he said to lean into and to help? Who were the people that he said that in serving them, we would really be serving him? People who don't have enough food, or people that don't have enough water, people who don't have a place to stay, or don't have enough clothes, people who are suffering from sickness, people who are lonely. This list is a good place to start. And better yet, there are already some great organizations and charities in your city and your area that have ways to help some or all those needs. Just jump in with something already being done. Ask around, Google it, find an organization that's already busy sending and serving people and join them. Whatever you do, just do something. You don't have to do something alone. Get your whole small group on board. Pick out an organization or a group that you want to help participate together. Serving as a group is more effective, and it's a whole lot more fun. Whether or not you would label yourself as a Christian, you can see the importance of serving. It helps others, and it also helps you too. It pushes you outside of your comfort zone. And when you do that, you can't help but grow as a person. After all, courageous is greater than comfortable. But if you would consider yourself a Christian or a follower of Jesus, There's no better way to practice living your faith than by serving the way that Jesus served. He went all in for you, risking all his comfort and convenience. Now it's your turn. Are you willing to gather your courage, lay down your comfort, and do something to help another person? As you head out today, think about one thing that you can do to help another person this week. Maybe that sounds scary, but you can do it. I believe in you. Remember, courage is greater than comfort. Now let's do something.